back, everyone, to the After the Scales podcast, episode 63, presented by DJD Graphics. I'm Jacob Dove of Phenom Motorsports, along with Shaun Blight of Canadian Racing Tours. And on today's episode, joining us out of Bonham, Texas, USAC Non-Wing driver Kobe Simpson is joining. Kobe, thanks for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate it.
Man, thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate this.
So Kobe ran down here in Florida, where I am at Volusia and Ocala Speedway with the USAC Non-Wing Sprint Cars. Really excited to watch you, Kobe. You know, you were talking off camera how you're a small, team trying to make it in the world of non-wing sprint cars. Just talk about that experience. I know you won your first heat race at Ocala. Got to see it in person. It was pretty cool. I thought you were really impressive. So kind of go through that and how the experience has kind of changed your racing plans for this year.
Yeah, man, it was definitely crazy. I wasn't expecting to win the heat race like I did, and it was kind of a shocker just because we've already had a rough start to the beginning of the week and blowing a motor at Volusia, and man, it got us down a little bit, and we're like, well. We actually said the night before, we said if we struggle, we might just call it quits and for the weekend and regroup and come back whenever we're fully prepared and ready to go again. So we really needed the good night we had at Ocala. So that was definitely a mood changer. It kind of helped us get our confidence back up. And, well, then we won it and started out pretty good. I mean, we kind of had the preferred line, so that was fortunate. I told my parents and my crew guy, which is Shane, I said, well, the bad thing is with the Dash 12 we had, we'd go out there and qualifying, we would we'd be just good enough to make the invert, but terrible enough that, man, we weren't even in the top 10, like 15 either. We're barely breaking the 19th place. So I told them, I said, we're kind of fortunate, but unfortunate at the same time. So then the track was fortunate to us and kind of was one lane, and I was able to keep my momentum and just all around try to make as little mistakes as I possibly could. But other than that, we had a good time down there. We're regrouping for hopefully the next time, and we're able to come back a little bit better and stronger and get the A feature results that we're wanting. But other than that, I really just got to thank my parents and Shane for everything they do for me, and got to thank everybody on my car, Circle C Adventures, Tub Quality Threads, B-Town Automotive, Simpson Performance Horses, DRC Chassis, Kennedy Race Engines, and Scorpion Racewear for giving my fire suits to me and just all around making me look good on the track.
Kobe, when you're up against the best of the best there during Florida Speed Weeks, and is there, you're a young driver, is there anyone do you feel comfortable going up to for advice, or anyone coming up to you helping you along?
Man, there's multiple people that have honestly been a really big help. Like last year we ran Ocala. We struggled. We didn't have the best of weekend down there, which we only made the Ocala swing. We didn't run Volusia because we were working. And, well, we were struggling to get the torque ball, which I'd flipped pretty bad at Devil's Bowl. And that was the only thing we reused was the torque tube, and it was bent, so it was not free going. So it caused our car to be in a bind, and while we were out on the track, it affected how it drove. So Justin came over, he helped us out, try to figure out what was wrong, because that's the first time we've ever had something that bad kind of happen. So Justin Grant helped us, and all around Logan and Justin and many of those guys, they would help you if you ever asked for it. And I just got to give them a big thank you. Like sometimes it's not easy figuring out what's wrong. And I know KT helped us one time at Lawrenceburg when we first got into the sprint car stuff with non-wing. we had a messed up front axle, and he came over and was trying to help us set it up for Lawrenceburg because it was my first time ever there. And he said, "The worst thing that can happen here is you bike up." So he said, "Set it free and just do these simple things I tell you, and it should help you be loose enough to fill the car out on Lawrenceburg, but then know what you had to do after." So we followed it, and then he measured our front end. So we're like, well, what's about the front end? And he said, well, it's screwed up. So we ended up running it because we didn't have the right front end at the time. So we had to come back home and get a front end for our cars. So there's multiple people that helped us over the time we've been with USAC and driving against them. So they're a big help.
Yeah, when I was at Ocala, Kobe, I thought it was cool. You were parked next to Justin Grant in the pits, and that's where I was kind of hanging out. Obviously, Justin's a great guy and a very accomplished racer, and I believe that the top motorsports guys even gave you some tires and really helped you out. Seeing a small team like that, I didn't really see you race before, so seeing you race and get that feature, well, going into the feature, you got the heat race win. I thought it was like, man, this Kobe kid, he's really making a name for himself here. Just for a small team, I seen you were the only one around your car with the jack and your dog. I thought it was really cool that you stood out and all the fans started talking about who's that Kobe Simpson kid. So Kobe, how does it feel, knowing that you did check something off your list and kind of carrying that momentum into the rest of the year? I know you said that you're not going to be running the full USAC schedule, but you're going to try to make the most of your season.
Yes, sir. We it, it came out of shock to us. Like Justin Grant, he's always been nice to us, and last year we put it in the same spots last year, so that's what we planned on doing again. And also we got dogs, so we don't like them being in everybody's way, and if they're ever like barking and acting up, howling and whatever. So we like to park a little bit, kind of on our own. And yeah, I just gotta give a big thank you to my dad and mom because uh, they kind of let me be more hands-on learning, and they've taught me everything I know on the car, which I'm more of a before the races start work on it, and I get it cleaned up, air the tires up, mess with the shocks and whatever before the races, and then once it kind of moves into race time, my dad takes over and Shane takes over. But other than that, yeah, I was super happy to finally pick off my first USAC heat win, and hoping to finally, once we get our better motor back, I'm hoping to start getting some better results in the A feature and start giving my team really what they need and deserve. Because I just haven't really showed the results in the A that we are capable of, I believe. But hopefully we're able to make the best of it.
All right. So for those of us who might not know your racing background growing up, Kobe, talk to us about growing up in Texas, some of the local race tracks that you ran at, how you got your start in racing, and maybe what's your family's background in racing.
Well, it's actually kind of a funny story. My dad started off racing. He raced modifieds and I think a street stocks, but I'm the second child of our family. So my mom and dad, they got together, and my dad raced modifieds and whatever before he had kids. Well, once Callie got old enough to start doing stuff, she decided to start doing barrel racing. So I actually started off as a rodeo person. So they took me to rodeos, and they were like, "Well, we'll just do him in this and see if he takes off in it." Well, we had a yard cart for Callie at one time, so I decided I was like, "Well, I'm not really fond of horses and stuff like that, and that's not my favorite thing to do." So we had this little yard cart, we called it, and I decided to hop into the yard cart and just drive it. So we called a go kart place, and they let me hop in and just run our cart just to make sure I liked it before we bought the necessary equipment to go run. And yeah, after that, I liked it, and we bought a pretty good couple of go karts after that, and Other than that, I really didn't have a long go kart season. Uh, I moved up after like I think middle of the year to end. I'm running maybe half a season in it, but we moved up to micros, and our first micro we actually bought out of Indiana, which I say we mainly. I grew up racing micros, which is basically what I started in. I really didn't have much time in a go kart. So we started in a micro, and we ran locally for a little bit, and we ran a lot of I-44 plus some Port City, which we started transitioning to Port City a lot because I think one year they got 4 out of 5 drillers or something like that. They got quite a bit of drillers, and we're like, man, they just got some stout competition at Port. So we struggled to make shows there, and so whenever we ran Port, we struggled to make the show. So then we decided, well, it's tougher competition, so we want to be the best, so we got to run against the best. So that's the only way to get better is just keep throwing your name in the mix and just hoping that you can make the best out of it every night. So we struggled to make the features at Port, so we finally started getting good, and then I bought a second car so I could have an A class, a non-wing car, and other than that, we got pretty good towards I think is 2020, maybe 2021. Then we finally picked off our first open class win, and we're in the A class or in non-wing outlaw, which was in the Outlaw Nationals at Port City. Uh, we had it was a shock to me because we were running our just stock motor, and I kind of got lucky. It was kind of a bottom feed track, and I was able to run the bottom. So other than that, we had a pretty good 2 nights at the Outlaw Nationals.
And looking back past couple years, Kobe, back in 2023, you were the USAC MWRA Rookie of the Year, and you also last year got your first USAC Midwest Wingless Racing Association win at I-35 Speedway. Now that you've transitioned to more of the non-wing sprint car stuff, coming from the micro scene, what are some of the goals that you want to check off this year? I know you had those motor issues earlier this year. It's kind of going to set you back, but some of the things that you want to do this year that you really want to check off your list?
Starting off, I'd like to really my first big move I'd like to do is start getting like top tens pretty consistently, and then I'd like to transition to top fives and maybe a win. But it's kind of just take small steps because at this time you really don't know like what you're capable of. I've had maybe one race on that motor, and it really got to test my potential, but I wasn't the best I could have been. And the reason I say this is because I was still learning the motor. I never had any practice laps besides Ocala the night before Volusia. So whenever I went out at Volusia, I did pretty good in qualifying. I think I qualified 13th on that night. And going out for the heat race, I think I finished 4th or 5th. I think I locked in behind Jason Persley, and like whenever I was racing with him, I was actually kind of keeping my pace up and kind of following Logan for a little while, and I just wasn't quite as good as he was, which that only comes with seat time. So our whole goal is just to get a little bit better finishes in the A feature. That's our main goal for the features, and you run it up front with USAC, being more consistent, I should say.
Yeah, I don't think too many people expect you to be as good as Logan right off the bat. So even guys that have been running against him for years generally aren't as good as him. So talk to us about this year. I know you said your schedule's a little bit up in the air, but some of your local stuff. Talk about some of the competition you've got around there and some of the tracks that you run at.
Well, our first local race, like I said earlier, we don't got nothing 100% like planned out. We just got like shows we pick out and just say, oh, we want to go run. Like we're thinking about running if the weather holds up and doesn't rain it out or whatever. And if you're superstitious, don't R word it. But yeah, our first race might be at, I think it's called Texas Motor Speedway, or it's something like that at Texas Motor Speedway. But yeah, it would be with I think it's now called Power Eye Elite. I think it's Elite Non-Wing. I think they said Wesley will come, and I'm not for sure who will all come. But I guess we'll just see when we get there. I think maybe Ricky Lewis is what I heard from someone. I'm not 100% for sure who will all go there. But other than that, we don't got nothing else quite like stacked up right after this. We're just gonna take it day by day and work as hard as we can over at our shop, so we can get our good motor back and try to go compete more against USAC National. So that's our whole plan after this.
Yeah, I would have to say, Kobe, that your future goal is probably to run the full USAC national tour. I know, I mean, looking at the point standings right now, you're the third highest rookie behind Hayden Reinbold and Gunnar Setzer. Would that be, the plan for you moving forward to, bring all the resources together, have enough crew help and, engine power to run against those USAC national guys?
Yes, sir. I'd definitely like to get Rookie of the Year with the USAC National, but we're not 100% for sure if like we would be able to, because there's sometimes that we might have to work at our shop just to fun going racing again or whatever. So it really just depends, because like we weren't expecting our motor to go out and blow up, which is always on your mind. Yeah, it can always happen, but you never like, oh man, it might blow up tonight. But yeah, so we're just hoping that we can get the motor back pretty quick, and then I think if we get it back pretty soon and everything's going good, we'll probably start focusing on running with USAC National, and hopefully make as many shows as we can with them. But until then, everything that we got planned is just kind of up in the air. It's mostly local stuff at the moment.
All right. So before we let you go, Kobe, we always finish off with our rapid fire DJD gear segment. Jacob's got 10 questions that he's just going to fire off to you. And if you, when you're ready, Jacob, go ahead.
All right, Kobe. So the first question for you is why the number 21?
Well, it's actually a funny story. Whenever I was first getting into go-karts, I believe, we were steadily trying to decide of what I wanted to be. Like, I think my favorite number at the time was like 101, or it is some 3-digit 100 number. So my mom told me I couldn't have that number because she said, just pick a 2-digit and we'll throw a K on it or whatever. So it's funny that the day we went to get my go-kart wrapped, uh, I I was debating between 48 or 32 because I was a real big fan of Jimmy Johnson. And also my crew guy, which is helping us now, Shane, he was number 32 all of his life. And we're pretty close. So I was like, man, maybe 32. And I also had 48 because my cousin. Or 42, my bad. But other than that, I ended up going with 21K because I think it was that year the guy won on Sunday, which was when we were getting our car wrapped. He won the NASCAR race, and his number was 21. So I decided to do 21. So it's pretty funny story.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Kobe, because your name is Kobe and your car's purple and yellow. So I instantly thought about the Lakers. So were you ever a Kobe Bryant fan growing up?
A little bit. I wasn't as into basketball. Like, I loved basketball and all. I played it. Just once I got to about 12th grade, or not even 12th, it was probably about ninth or eighth, I started focusing on racing a lot more because I just had enough of I really didn't like my coaches that much. Like, I was, I wasn't as good as some of the starters, and it was just one of those deals I wasn't getting to play a lot, and I'd rather be in the seat if I wasn't going to get to play. So it was just one of those deals I picked and choose what I wanted to do. So it was either, do I want to be a basketball player or do I want to be a race car driver. So if I can get as much seat time as I could in a race car, I'd rather do that than go out and play basketball. And I also wasn't getting to play much, so it just made more sense for me. I'd rather go racing and just keep school as studying and doing schoolwork and just focus on racing.
And what's your favorite racetrack you've been to so far?
Man, it's a tough one. I really like Kokomo. I really like Putnamville. But so far, in our best track for Indiana has been Bloomington. But probably for race wise, it's Kokomo. But facility, man, I'm gonna have to go Lucas Oil.
And what's a track that you haven't raced at yet that you want to really bad?
Probably Eldora. Like I haven't got to race there yet. We had a little talk about maybe going, but I'm not for sure about this year if we will go or not.
And this is kind of a trick question here, but would you rather rip the top or catfish the bottom?
Rip the top. Even though I struggle at ripping the top sometimes, yeah, I've had a few body panels get screwed up just from the top, and we had to beat them out. But I really like running the top. Both of them are fun. Just depends on what time and if it's the right time to run it or the wrong time.
Top's up here, bud, right?
Oh, yeah.
And which form of racing do you like to watch the most? NASCAR, F1, or IndyCar?
I've watched most NASCAR. Like, that's what I grew up around. I haven't watched much IndyCar or F1 or nothing like that. But so NASCAR.
And I've seen your dog around you in the pits a lot, so I wanted to ask, is your dog your number one fan?
I'm not for sure. I think I'm his number one fan. He don't act like he's a big fan of me sometimes.
And what's a song or artist that gets you pumped up on race day?
Ooh, that's a good one. Lately, it's been Big X the Plug. I've been big on him lately.
And one of his songs is called Texas, so this next question's perfect. What's the best barbecue in Texas?
Wow, you're asking me the wrong question, man. Holy, man.
Could be the best barbecue you ever had in general. Doesn't have to be in Texas.
I'm gonna be honest. We're more of a Mexican eating family. Like, we love us some Mexican food. We haven't really ate Mexican lately, or barbecue. So I'm gonna say Mexican would that be our top choice if that was a question.
All right, and the last question for you, and it's the most important one: is everything actually bigger in Texas?
Oh man, y'all got some good questions. Hold on. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think so.
Well, we really appreciate your time, Kobe. It was really cool to see you do well down here in Florida, and I know you're a blue-collar racer trying to get your feet wet, racing with the big dogs. So I really wish you the best of luck this year racing locally, and hopefully you can get back behind the wheel and race against those USAC national guys. But thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate this. Man, super thankful that y'all asked me to do this.
Thanks a lot, man.
After the Scales is proudly presented by DJD Graphics. From commercial and personal vehicles to racing bikes and cars of all makes, models, and disciplines, DJD Graphics can fully customize your vehicle to suit your needs. For more information, contact Darren and visit his website at www.djdgraphics.com. Tell him Shaun and Jacob sent you to receive special rates.